This story was narrated by VidCrew Media. Please show your support by like and subscribe. Thank you. Adonis drove painfully slowly, or maybe it was because I was impatient and wanted to know what the hell was going on. When he finally decided to pull into the palace, both our heads whipped around. At the same time, panic was on our faces as we both smelled an overwhelming amount of blood. Without wasting any time, we both jumped out of the car and rushed toward the palace. It seemed as though these were Bradley's lichens. The beautiful gardens of the palace were now stained with blood. My gaze found my family, who were bravely fighting against the lichens. It was a bloodbath, one that needed to end now, before any more of our fighters died. I couldn't give a damn about the others. Enough, Adonis shouted, causing everyone to stop fighting. This novel will be daily update at the power of the king. You couldn't deny him. Your leader has been caught. Your game is over. Stop this fighting and we may offer you mercy, Adonis announced. We fight to the death, one lichen yelled and gained support from the others. They resumed fighting, and Adonis growled, "So be it." Adonis turned to Gabe, who was standing there ready to fight. But Adonis shook his head. "Take those two down to the cells. We don't want these idiots trying to free them while we fight." Gabe nodded and took a few guards with him. Both Adonis and I turned to each other and smirked. My lichen was eager to show these fuckers who they messed with. Without wasting another second, I let my lichen take over. My gaze snapped over to a lichen who was getting a good hold on Carter's wolf. I growled and ran toward them, reaching for the guy's hair. I pulled him back and stood on his neck. He clawed at me, but to no avail. His head was torn off by Lexi. I turned back around to see Carter's wolf, who was hurt, but luckily it wasn't too bad. My family would not be hurt in this battle. Not on my watch. This novel will be daily updated. I picked up Carter's wolf and rushed him inside to safety. He limped over to a quiet place before shifting back and limping out. Luckily, my lichen had calmed down, and Carter smiled at me. "Wow, my smiley have changed so much. Look at you, all confident and strong." "Why, thank you. It was the perfect opportunity to show off my new skills." I winked. Carter laughed and replied, "I guess you better get back out there." Sigh, I nodded. "You stay here. Don't do anything stupid and wait for help. This novel will be daily updated. I do not doubt that Dia will come running in soon," I warned him. A smile made its way onto his face. "Yeah, I know she will. So in love," I laughed. "Shut up and go to your mate." Carter rolled his eyes, grinning. I left Carter in the pack house. Dia rushed past me, clearly only having eyes for her injured mate. "Arya," Adonis shouted. A crazed lichen headed straight for me, but before I could do anything, a familiar figure stood in front of me and ripped the head off the lichen. Damien turned around and raised his eyebrows. "Where were you? Lost?" "Arya, what the hell? He could have seriously hurt you." This novel will be daily updated. Adonis rushed over, his eyes checking me for injuries. "Sorry," I replied sheepishly. Damien just looked at me in amusement, while Adonis shook his head. "It's time to end this," Brother Damien told Adonis, who nodded in agreement. Both brothers looked amazing as they plowed through lichens, their lifeless bodies dropping to the floor like flies. When it was all over, Adonis looked at my family and said, "Head inside with the others. We have some business to attend to." They all nodded, and Zoya squeezed my hand for support. Mia and Lexi both came with us as we made our way to the cells. My heart broke for the poor fighters we lost today. The magnificent gardens now swimming in blood. It wasn't a nice sight. "Hey, you were meant to explain Gabe's double agent role to me." I stopped Adonis in his tracks. He just moved me to one side while muttering, "Later." I scoffed and stood in front of him. "Later, my ass. Tell me now." He opened his mouth to refuse, but I put my hands on my hips and glared at him. "This novel will be daily updated. I wanted to know now, before Adonis sweeps it under the rug and never tells me." Damien snickered, causing Adonis to give him a dirty look. "Fine, don't tell me. No sex for a month." I shrugged my shoulders and continued. to walk away, leaving Adonis standing there in shock. I knew the no-sex ban would affect him more than me. Of course, I was proven right by Adonis pulling me back and replying, "I'll tell you while we walk." Satisfied, I nodded, which made the others laugh. "She's got you wrapped around her finger, brother." Damien laughed. "Wait till you get your mate. It isn't easy to deny her." Adonis sighed. At that, Damien became silent and smiled sadly. It was clear he longed for his mate, but he never showed it. You know that Gabe overheard Savannah talking to Bradley. This novel will be daily updated. He decided to make Savannah believe he also hated me. Only after she believed him did he come and tell me, and we made a plan. Gabe pretended to hate me while gathering intel, but he had to gain their trust, which meant helping them with their dirty plans. He knew nothing about the little girl, but with my permission, he drugged you. Gabe felt extremely guilty after that incident, and was going to confront Bradley. I stopped him. We were so close to our end goal. After much persuasion on my part and Lexi's, Gabe finally calmed down. I knew our patience would pay off, especially since Bradley was so wrapped up in his own damn world, Adonis explained. Wow was all I managed to say. Such an elaborate plan, but I knew nothing about it. I opened my mouth to ask why I didn't know, but then closed it again. Thinking about it, Adonis did the right thing because the fewer people who knew, the better. This novel will be daily updated. Guilt ate me alive as I realized that I was rude to Gabe, thinking he had betrayed Adonis. King Adonis Dimitri Gray. A voice broke me out of my thought process. Adonis stopped dead in his tracks and growled. Even Damien tensed up. Who the fuck was it? I turned around to see a middle-aged man with gray hair walking toward us with a smirk on his face. In his hand was a piece of paper that he was proudly holding like it was some trophy. This novel will be daily updated. Adonis tensed considerably, causing me to glare at this man. After much deliberation, the council and I have decided it is time for you to step down from the throne, this man said. Oh, he was from the council. Should have recognized his awful voice. You have. For what reason, may I ask? Adonis seemed very calm. Look at the state of your palace, and you still haven't captured the man responsible. I know we gave you a time limit, but he really should have been captured by now. If you can't handle that, then how can you be responsible for all the innocent lives? This man was getting on my nerves. Before Adonis could reply, I made my way to the front and glared at this idiot. You're acting like other packs haven't had wars before. I'm sure this isn't the first time you are seeing the aftermath of a battle. He didn't look too pleased with my answer. I was talking to the king. Well, I'm the queen. So, whatever you say to my mate, you say to me. I smiled. He huffed and opened his mouth, but I stopped him. Before any more rubbish comes out of that mouth of yours, I would like to educate you on a few very important points. Firstly, you should think before you open that mouth of yours. Adonis has captured the culprit, and we were actually heading over there right now. Before you rudely interrupted us. Secondly, you think that some paper with a few signatures is really going to remove Adonis from the throne. You're just proving how dumb you can be. When the people love him, what are a few stupid signatures from a few old men who are just jealous? This novel will be daily updated. Lastly, the biggest mistake you will ever make is thinking Adonis to be weak. When he has me and his family supporting him, he will never be weak. Now, I think you know to fuck off. We have better things to be doing. This man's jaw dropped to the ground, while Adonis wrapped his hand around my waist and smiled down at me, his love shining through his eyes. You heard my queen. Fuck off, Adonis told the councilman. I think this is useless. Damien walked over and grabbed the piece of paper right out of his hands before tearing it into small pieces. Without waiting, we walked away. Oh, that was priceless. I wish I had my phone to take a picture of that bastard's face. Evan laughed. Who knew you had it in you? Damien smirked at me. I knew. She's my little spitfire. Adonis smiled at me. Well, I had to say something. He was pissing me off. I rolled my eyes. You're incredibly strong. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, Damien told me. I smiled at him while Adonis held my hand. We made our way to the cells. The atmosphere changed. Evan clutched Nia's hand, probably for the support. Adonis and I both looked at each other before walking in. Bradley and Savannah were both conscious now. While Savannah looked distressed, Bradley looked calm. Gabe came over and shook his head. He hasn't said anything. I looked over at Bradley, who had a small smirk on his face. Bastard still thought he had the upper hand. Luke stood solemnly in the corner, his hard gaze focused on his older brother. Sophia was nowhere to be seen. She was probably resting, and I doubt Luke would have wanted her in front of Bradley again. Silent treatment. Huh. You do realize that all your men are dead. You have no one to help you, Adonis scoffed. Bradley kept his composure, but I saw the fear in his eyes. It was only for a split second, but it was there. He was just pretending to be calm. He was freaking out. Inside, I could still kill your mate. Just one snap of her neck and her lifeless body will be lying by your feet, Bradley replied. Damien and Adonis growled at him, causing Bradley to smirk. He just wanted a reaction, and he got one. Bradley stood up and walked toward the bars, taunting Adonis. I could wrap my hands around her little neck in one movement. Adonis was breathing heavily now, his lichen close to taking control. Looking at Bradley, I realized why he was taunting Adonis. If Adonis lost control, he'd break Bradley out of his cell to finish him, and Bradley planned to gain the upper hand. He could get away if he threatened to kill me or anyone else. Nice try, smart ass. Nice try. I walked over to Adonis and placed my hand on his chest. Don't let this pathetic man's words get to you. He wants you to get angry. Adonis grabbed my hand like it was his lifeline. This time it was my turn. You think you are so smart, but guess what? I'm smarter. While you just use your mate to execute your plans, my mate treats me like his equal. That is why you've lost, because you underestimated us. Adonis is king for good fucking reason, and looks like you've just found that out. Bradley growled. Come closer and let me show you who is stronger. I laughed and turned to Gabe. Bring her out. Gabe nodded and brought out Savannah, who was struggling, but to no avail. I saw Bradley's eyes narrow in confusion, and I smirked. Since you're so dead set on killing me, I think it's only fair that Adonis kill your mate, I said. I think a lady should kill a lady. Oh wait, I mean a bitch. I looked at Savannah. Panic settled in her eyes, and she struggled against Gabe's grip. Huh. As if I believe you will actually kill my mate. You don't have it in you, Bradley scoffed. Bradley, you've gotta help me. Don't let me die, Savannah wailed. Babe, she is bluffing. As if she will kill you. It's just her plan to get a reaction out of me. Bradley laughed. Bluffing me. My lichen was angry at the disrespect, and so was I. This bastard was underestimating me, and I did not like that. Growling, I grabbed Savannah out of Gabe's grip and pushed her toward Bradley's cell. I didn't even hesitate as I wrapped my hand around her neck and snapped it. Disbelief and anger flashed through Bradley's eyes as he watched Savannah's body drop to the floor, her lifeless eyes staring right at him. It was silent for a moment before Bradley crashed against the bars screaming, I'll kill you. I'll fucking kill you. Adonis stood in front of me and smirked. You wanted to kill my mate, but look where that got you. He looked at Gabe and Evan. Sedate him. I don't want him escaping. Bradley thrashed and screamed bloody murder. His eyes, now black as his lichen, took over. After much hassle, he was sedated. His unconscious body fell to the floor with a thump. Now what? Damien asked. We leave him here. Savannah's body shouldn't move from here either. The first thing he should see is her eyes staring at him, I replied. He will escape. A lichen without his mate can go feral, Evan reminded. Then he dies. Tomorrow morning, Adonis decided. Everyone nodded, apart from Luke, who stood in the corner looking at his brother. Goodbye, brother. For good this time, Luke finally said before walking out of the cells. I don't know about you, but I thought Arya's move was super badass. Gabe winked. I laughed and replied, "You haven't seen anything yet." "Super badass and super sexy," Adonis whispered in my ear, causing me to giggle. "Okay, let's keep it PG here please," Evan shuddered. "He's talking as if he doesn't have sex with his mate every day," Adonis mumbled, causing Nia to blush and Evan to quickly walk away with Nia in tow. As we walked out of the cells, I turned to Adonis. "Now what happens?" He smiled and said, "Now begins our forever." My body was exhausted as we made our way back to the palace. My eyes found the bloody field where all those lichens laid. Those that fought for us, not against us. Adonis squeezed my hand. "Those brave lichens did not die in vain. I will make sure they get a proper burial." "I know you will." I smiled sadly. "I know who will be happy to see you," Nia called out. "What?" I asked, confused. As we entered the palace, a blur ran toward me and picked me up. "Carter, put me down." I laughed. "Oh, Smiley, I'm so glad you're okay." Carter put me down as his eyes ran up and down to check for any injuries. "What about your injury?" "One touch and you're out for the rest of the battle," I teased. Carter pouted. "That's no fair. You're a lichen now, much stronger than me." Adonis cleared his throat before pulling me back toward him and placing a hand round my waist. A smile made its way onto my face when I realized Adonis was jealous. I wanted to laugh, but I kept it in knowing it wasn't the right time. "Thank you for all your help." Adonis sounded like he was talking to a stranger. "No problem. We're family now. My best friend and sister-in-law are a part of your pack. This novel will be daily updated at Family Helps Family Out." Carter smiled at me. "Yeah, which means family doesn't get jealous of family," I whispered to Adonis, who just glared at me. "I'm a jealous man, baby. I can't help it," Adonis whispered back. "What are you two whispering about?" Carter asked. "Trust me, you don't want to know," Evan muttered, but was elbowed by Nia, who shook her head. "Nothing. Don't worry about it," I answered. "You better not keep any more secrets from me, Smiley, unless it's about your sex life," because I really— Carter trailed off as a loud cough interrupted him. My dad stood there with a "I don't want to know what my daughter does with her mate" look on his face. "If only they knew," Adonis mumbled in my hair, causing me to bury my face in Adonis's chest, totally mortified. "I will get Carter back for that." The last thing I needed was my dad finding out about my sex life. "Oh, my baby, look at you." Mom came over and pulled me out of my embarrassing moment by hugging me. "I'm okay, Mom, honestly." I hugged her back. A mom's hug makes everything better, I swear. "Yeah, your daughter's a badass," Damien smirked. "Tell us something we don't know." Sai made his presence known by ruffling my hair. I scowled at him as I attempted to fix it. "This novel will be daily updated," Sai just smiled and ruffled it again. I did not miss that, but obviously he did. "As much as I would love to sit with you all and chat, I need a shower in my bed," I said. "Of course you do. Go rest. We will be here till tomorrow," my dad replied, giving me a quick hug. After saying my goodbyes, I made my way upstairs, desperate for a shower. Adonis stayed down to make sure my family was okay. It didn't take me long to enter my room, take off the dirty clothes, and enter the shower. The warm water hitting my skin made me sigh. It felt like today was a never-ending day. I took my time washing my hair and scrubbing my skin till it was red. When I finally decided to come out, the smell of food made my stomach rumble. Quickly, I got dressed and was surprised to see a whole spread of food. Adonis sat there smiling. "You took your time." "I was afraid I would need to come in there and grab you before the food went cold." "You were afraid?" "I find that hard to believe," I scoffed. Adonis laughed. "It's true. Sure, I'll remember that next time you want to shower together." I rolled my eyes. "Come on, you need to eat." Adonis grabbed my hand and sat me down next to him. He was right. I needed food. So, without wasting a second, I grabbed a plate and filled it up with all sorts of delicious food. Eating like a lady didn't even occur to me as I stuffed my face. When I had eaten enough, I collapsed on the bed with a loud sigh. Satisfied. Adonis chuckled. Very, I replied. I can't believe it's over. Adonis looked at me with worry in his eyes. You're thinking that something else is going to happen, aren't you? I asked. Adonis nodded, and I shook my head, standing up and heading over to him. Don't. We've won this battle, Adonis. Bradley won't be causing us any more trouble. This novel will be daily updated. I'm sure the council will leave us alone for now too. I laughed at the end. Yes, thanks to my amazing mate. Adonis smiled. I dramatically flipped my hair. I know, I'm just too good. Adonis pulled me toward him and groaned. You know how much you've tortured me today. The number of times I've had to hide my heart on floor. Everyone. Laughter escaped my mouth before I could stop it. Thinking about Adoni trying to hide his boner just made me laugh even more. You think that's funny? He rolled his eyes. I'm sorry. It is just a little. I tried to stop laughing. Before I knew it, Adonis had picked me up and threw me on the bed, causing me to squeal. The laughter stopped as soon as I saw his eyes. He crawled up the bed with a smirk on his face. It's a good thing I don't have to hide my heart on anymore tonight. I swallowed the lump in my throat. My. Adonis's smirk never left his face as he bent down and nipped my ear. My little mate has nothing to say. My parents, I tried to come up with an excuse, are on a completely different floor. You know this whole floor is just ours, my love. Adonis tried not to laugh at me, but my brain had nothing else to say. Adonis humored me while leaving little kisses from my ear to my neck, causing me to shiver. Suddenly, it was like my brain stopped working. I couldn't think of anything else but the pleasure Adonis was causing me. Are you afraid, little one? He asked. You look like you want to devour me, I admitted. And that makes you afraid? Adonis looked at me, concerned. No, it makes me nervous. My body is going to hurt like a bitch tomorrow, I replied. Adonis let out a sigh. I thought you were afraid. I wouldn't do anything if you felt like that. But now I know you do want this. He wasted no time in pulling down my pants and latching onto my core. Fuck. I arched my body off the bed, feeling Adonis's skillful tongue work its magic. That comes after. Let me taste you first. Adonis smirked. Lick after lick. Adonis tortured me as my body thrashed around. Adonis, please, I begged. Not now. Don't you dare let go before I say so, Adonis said. I let out a cry of frustration, but that turned into a moan as Adonis inserted two fingers and pumped them in and out of my core. Oh God, Adonis, I can't. This novel will be daily updated. I struggled to form even a sentence. Adonis's response was to pump his fingers even faster. One lick of my core, and I couldn't hold it in any longer. Fuck, I screamed as I felt my juices spill out. My head fell back on the pillow as I breathed heavily to catch my breath. Adonis took out his fingers, and I watched as he licked them clean. You disobeyed me, he tutted. I tried, but it's hard. I pouted. Maybe so, but you still disobeyed me. I think a punishment is in order, Adonis said, a wicked glint in his eyes. He stood up and walked into the closet before coming out with a silk piece of cloth. What are you going to do? I asked. He didn't answer, instead lifting my hands and holding them behind my head. Realization crossed my face as I struggled, but it was no use. Adonis used the silk cloth to tie my hands to the bedpost. Do not move. If you decide to escape, then I'll have to punish you even more, Adonis told me. I could easily get out of this, but seeing his face made me think otherwise. Plus, part of me couldn't help but get turned on. Stupid hormones. Adonis ripped my top, causing me to gasp. There are so many things I want to do to you, little one, but we have plenty of time. Right now, all I want to do is bury my cock in your tight pussy. Dirty talk. He knew how much I loved that. I watched as Adonis took off his clothes, so slowly. My hands were itching to rip them off, and I groaned in frustration. This was part of his punishment, and punishment it was. Adonis, I groaned. No, don't do it, little one, Adonis warned. I closed my eyes and willed my brain to think about something else. A growl. Thrash those thoughts. Eyes on me. Don't let them close, Adonis growled. Fuck. This was absolute torture. But I did what he said. This novel will be daily. Updated. My eyes were glued to his hazel ones as he still took his sweet time. Taking off his clothes, I struggled around in the bed, begging him to hurry up. But he just stood there, with a triumphant smirk on his face. Now you know not to disobey me. I can make the punishments worse. All right? Yes, I've learned my lesson. Please, would you just fuck me already? I cried out. Adonis ripped off the rest of his clothes in a split second and Posishania himself, by my core, which was begging for him to enter me. Is this what you want? Adonis teased his cock by my entrance. Oh God, please, Adonis. I lifted my core to try and encourage him. Slowly, Adonis edged forward. Erg, so close. All this teasing was torture. Just, you wait, Adonis. I will pay you back the favor. Adonis. A loud voice called, causing us both to jump. No, this was not happening. Ignore it. They'll go away. Adonis. They yelled again. Are you fucking kidding me? I yelled. Adonis grabbed my hips so I didn't move. He also seemed pissed. I'm busy. Fuck off. Adonis, you need to come now, Gabe's voice yelled. Fuck you, Gabe. Do you know what the hell is going on here? Adonis released my hips and stood up. Sighing, I tore the silk to free my hands and stood up, frustrated and horny. Just my luck too. I swear to you, if this isn't a matter of life and death, I will throw Gabe in the fucking cells for a day. Adonis stood there, shocked, as I stormed into the bathroom and washed my flushed face. Whatever it was, I didn't really want to go out there with a face that read, I was so close to being fucked. Quickly getting dressed again, I exited the bathroom and saw Adonis dressed, with a solemn look on his face. Well, the sooner we get this over with, the sooner I can be back on this bed and get the orgasm I so desperately deserve. We both exited our room and saw Gabe standing there with an unreadable. Adonis stood there, shocked, as I stormed into the bathroom and washed my flushed face. Whatever it was, I didn't really want to go out there with a face that read, I was so close to being fucked. Quickly getting dressed again, I exited the bathroom and saw Adonis dressed, with a solemn look on his face. Well, the sooner we get this over with, the sooner I can be back on this bed and get the orgasm I so desperately deserve. We both exited our room and saw Gabe standing there with an unreadable expression on his face. What is it? Adonis asked. There is a situation downstairs. Gabe looked at me and hesitated. What the hell? Was it one of my family members? What situation? I asked. A little sliver of worry made its way in. Arya, if you don't come here this very second, I will kill everyone you love, a familiar voice shouted. My eyes widened with shock as I registered the voice. Holy shit. This was bad, very bad. My gaze snapped toward Adonis, who clenched his jaw and stormed downstairs, the anger radiating off him in waves. This novel will be daily updated. He was close to losing control, and that wouldn't be good for anyone. Fuck, why can't we have one normal day? I rushed downstairs, all thoughts of sex pushed out of my mind. Guess being a queen comes before my own pleasure. My blood ran cold as I saw Dia held hostage by none other than Hunter. A knife was pressed against Dia's neck, and a bomb was strapped to Hunter's chest. My whole family was tense as they surrounded Hunter. Nia was being held back by Evan. Her need to protect her sister was clear to me. Adonis was already growling at Hunter. Guards surrounded the place, just waiting for Adonis's command. I knew they could very easily kill him, but it was Dia and the bomb that got me worried. As soon as I was down, his eyes connected with mine. My heart was racing, but I willed myself to stay calm. This was a delicate situation. Arya, you're here, Hunter breathed, smiling at me. Adonis stood in front of me, blocking Hunter from seeing me. Let me see her, Hunter demanded. Adonis scoffed. I don't take orders from you. Mutt? He was struggling to stay in control. His voice became deeper. I squeezed his hand, and his tense shoulders relaxed, just a little. Hunter growled. Let me see her. This time he pressed the knife against Dia's neck, causing her to whimper. This novel will be daily updated. Carter, who was being held back by Damien, struggled against Damien's grip. I'll kill you. I will tear you limb from limb. Carter seethed, his possessiveness for his mate showing. He was no longer the playful alpha, but a very angry one. Instead, Nia growled, attempting to lunge at Hunter, but Evan held her back. Nia was easier to control than a certain lichen. If Adonis got angry, it wouldn't be pretty. His lichen was close to taking over. Dia wouldn't get hurt because of me. So, I pushed Adonis aside and let Hunter see me. Obviously Adonis didn't like that, but I grabbed his hand again, hoping he got the idea. You're different now. Hunter looked at me with adoration in his eyes. That adoration was what I wanted to see all those months ago. Now it just made me sick. The only person I wanted to see that in was standing right beside me. I'm a lichen now, Hunter. I kept all emotion away from my voice. A beautiful one at that, Hunter replied. Adonis growled, but I pulled him back. The Hunter I knew would never do anything to harm anyone. I hoped he was still in there. What do you want? I asked. You, he replied simply. Again, I felt Adonis's anger building up. I needed to defuse this and quick. What makes you think I'll come with you? My eyebrows raised. You're mine. I've come to fulfill my promise to you, Hunter stated. This time it was Carter who growled. Arya isn't yours. She never was. This novel will be daily updated. She was born to be a queen. She was born to be the king's mate. What promise are you talking about? You broke that when you stepped out of the car with your mate. Remember? Hunter's gaze snapped to Carter. I don't have a mate. Confusion was etched on our faces. What was he talking about? Did something happen to Lana? I will have one soon though. His gaze snapped to mine. Hunter, you need to let Dia go, I said, walking closer to him. Adonis growled at the loss of contact, his stance turning predatory. He was ready to attack if Hunter laid a finger on me. Let Dia go, Hunter. I won't come any closer to you, otherwise I attempted to negotiate. So, you'll come with me? He asked, excited. His grip loosened on the knife. I saw this, and thankfully Dia did too. Without wasting a second, she elbowed Hunter in the stomach while I grabbed the knife, so she could escape. Hunter collapsed onto the floor, and I chucked the knife far away. Get that bomb off him and chuck him in the dungeons, Adonis barked orders, and dragged me away from Hunter. She cheated on me, Hunter whispered. I stopped in my tracks and turned back around. Hunter looked at me brokenly. The bomb had been ripped off Hunter, but he didn't seem to care about that. Carter looked at me and then back at Hunter. Lana, he asked. Hunter nodded slowly. Tears formed in his eyes, and he shook his head to try and clear them. Why? When? Carter asked. I found out just before you came here and left me in charge. She was acting weird the past few months, and I couldn't figure out why. This novel will be daily updated. I followed her when she left our house, and she drove for about 15 minutes before stopping at this house. She didn't even knock. She had a key and walked straight in. I heard a little boy shout, "Mommy," and my heart broke. In that moment, I thought she had a child that she hid from me because she was worried about my reaction. But then I heard a man's voice. He was telling her how much he loved her and missed her. Lana said she missed him too. My own mate telling another man she loved him. I went to confront her when she told him that she would be rejecting me soon. She couldn't bear to live without him and her son. But I didn't give her the satisfaction of rejecting me. I burst in and rejected her. Instead of remorse, she was actually happy. While my heart shattered, she jumped into the arms of that man. She didn't even care that I was standing right there. Hunter was broken by the end of his story. Dia clutched onto Carter, while Carter looked distraught. The two have always been so close. Hearing what Hunter went through would have hurt Carter too. I think everyone felt the pain. Your mate is meant to be your best friend, your lover. But for Hunter, that wasn't the case. The pain he felt was all because of his mate. I felt anger building up inside me. Lana knew the effects of the mate bond, but still she played with Hunter. Adonis stepped up behind me, and his presence soothed the anger that was threatening to escape. I couldn't help the tears that fell. Hunter wasn't malicious or possessive. He was broken. This novel will be daily updated. He had been broken in the worst possible way. My mate had a family. She didn't want me. The mate bond made her stay with me, but she never wanted me. She just used me. Broke my heart and left Hunter. Whispered. I walked toward Hunter and knelt down. So I was face to face with him. Adonis's anger was evident, but I turned to him and shook my head. Hunter wasn't going to do anything. I was sure of it. Hunter, I whispered. His eyes shot up to mine. Sadness, anguish, and devastation were shining through. I know it's tough. Rejection isn't easy, but you can't let her win. What she did to you was awful, but you're stronger than that. You are one of the strongest people I know. There is someone out there for you. Someone who is worthy of your love. And we both know that someone isn't me. I smiled. Sadly. Hunter sighed. I know. You were never meant to be mine. Carter was right. You were born to be the king's mate. I guess my anger blinded me. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Carter spoke up. What you went through is something I don't wish upon anyone. Your feelings got the better of you. But owning up to your mistakes is something admirable. You've always been there for me, so this time I'm here for you. Hunter smiled sadly. Thanks, man. But I'm stepping down from my role as beta. I don't deserve it. Not after all of this. Carter laughed. Don't even think about it. I won't find a better beta for the pack. You're staying. But I'll let you have a few weeks off. Go and travel, explore new places, and who knows, maybe you'll find someone. Hunter cringed. I think my heart is closed off. Never say never, I reminded him. Thanks, Arya. You really are one of the best people I know. Hunter smiled. She is. Adonis made his presence known, grabbing my hand, so I was standing. It was a sign of possession. I wanted to roll my eyes, but instead I just smiled at him, and he pulled me closer to his side. Come on. Man, let's go home. I don't want the pack being without the alpha or beta. Carter helped Hunter stand. Smiley, I would have stayed longer if I could, but duty calls. You know I'm always a phone call away. Carter hugged me. I understand. You have responsibilities. Make sure you ring me when you get home. This novel will be daily updated, I replied. Yes, Mother. Carter joked. Aren't you guys tired? That drive is going to be so long, Mia piped up. We'll take turns driving. I'll drive first to let these guys sleep. Dia walked over to her sister and gave her a big hug. After saying our goodbyes to Carter, Dia, and Hunter, everyone decided to return to their rooms. It didn't take a genius to figure out that everyone was exhausted. The past few days have been tough on everyone. Mom gave me another hug and told me that I did the right thing, even though I didn't need it. Hearing Mom say that made me feel a little better. For some reason, I wasn't sure if I had betrayed Adonis by giving Hunter a second chance. Adonis may be jealous and possessive, but he wasn't unjust. He may not like Hunter, but my heart knew that he wouldn't be mad. I made my way back to my room with Adonis by my side. Sorry if I angered you. I broke the silence. You didn't. I wanted to be angry with you, but I realized I just can't be. He sighed. Why? I asked. Because you did the right thing. Hunter was broken, and you saw that. You gave him a second chance. Meanwhile, I was blinded by jealousy. So wasn't thinking straight, Adonis replied. What happened to Hunter was awful. All I wish for him is happiness. Seeing everyone around you in love with their mates must be hard. I released a sigh. He'll make it. But enough about Hunter. I believe we were interrupted. Adonis smirked. Adonis didn't wait for me to respond, instead picking me up and walking back to our room at a fast pace. Clearly someone was eager. He threw me on the bed, and that predatory look was back on his face. I found myself getting excited, but I didn't want to give him the satisfaction. He left me on edge. Now it was payback time. I yawned and said, "No, Lonite. I'm exhausted. I need sleep." His face changed to one of shock as I got into the covers and closed my eyes. "What the fuck?" I heard him mutter. It took everything in me not to burst out laughing as he got changed and climbed into bed. "Tomorrow, right?" he asked, sounding like a child. "We'll see. My parents are here, and I want to spend time with them." I snuggled into the duvet. "Cock blockers," he mumbled. A part of me felt a little guilty, but a bigger part of me was enjoying this way too much. Teasing Adonis was definitely one of my favorite things. "Good night, Adonis," I said, trying hard not to laugh. "Yeah, good night," he replied. It didn't take long for him to pull me closer, so I was now facing his chest. Something about sleeping in your mate's arms was just amazing. I snuggled into Adonis's chest, and he tightened his grip around me. It didn't take long for my eyes to get heavy. The events of the last few days took its toll on my body, so I welcomed sleep with open arms. "Don't do it, little one. You've teased me enough today," Adonis growled. "The king can't handle some teasing," I gasped. Adonis's eyes narrowed. "You're going to be in so much trouble." "Whatever." I flipped my hair back. "That's it." Adonis lunged for me. I guess I should backtrack a few hours to this morning. Waking up felt amazing. My whole body felt so much better, and it felt as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Adonis buried his face into my hair and breathed in my scent. "I don't want to get up," Adonis mumbled. "Neither do I. But my parents are here. I want to spend some time with them before they go." Reluctantly, I detangled myself from Adonis's warmth and headed to the bathroom to get ready. When I headed downstairs, my parents and family were already sitting there and chatting. This novel will be daily updated. Damien, Gabe, and Evan were also there. "Morning." I made my presence known. "Morning. Did you sleep well?" Evan asked, a teasing glint in his eyes. "Better than you, clearly. Maybe next time you should actually sleep," I joked. Evan rolled his eyes, while Gabe and Damien laughed. "I'm going to pretend I never heard that," Sai mumbled. "Love you, big bro." I laughed. "Darling, we're heading back after breakfast." Mom smiled sadly. "Darling, we're heading back after breakfast." Mom smiled sadly. "What? Why not after lunch?" I asked. "Oh, honey, we need to get back. Your father and brother have responsibilities that they can't ignore." Mom came over to give me a hug. I sighed. "I wish you could stay longer." "Next time," Mom promised. "You need to pay a visit next," Dad teased. "Oh, hush. She's the queen. Much more responsibility than us," Mom replied. "Dad's just messing." "Mom," I smiled. "Just because you're the queen doesn't mean you can't come to visit," Sai chipped in. "I can't wait for you to leave." I stuck my tongue out. "Wow, Arya, so mature." Sai rolled his eyes. "Ah, the joys of having my kids back together." Dad's sarcasm caused the Lycans to laugh. Zoya sat there, sipping her coffee, her eyes full of laughter. What did I miss? Adonis came down the stairs, his hair still wet from the shower. How badly I wanted to run my hands through his hair. Damn it, I bet he did that on purpose. He knows I love his hair. Just regular sibling drama. Damien laughed. "Are you teasing your brother, little one?" Adonis came up and asked. Of course he'd ask that. Probably trying to get revenge from yesterday. "See, even your mate knows what a handful you are." Sai looked smug. "You want me to start exposing your secrets?" I asked, my hands on my hips. Sai's smug look dropped, and he looked at me in horror. "You wouldn't try me," I fired back. Dad took a sip from his coffee before replying. "Sai, you're a grown-ass man. Stop teasing your sister. You know she'll embarrass you." "Daddy's little princess," Sai mumbled into his cup of coffee. Zoya patted his back but looked at me, laughing. I decided not to say anything else. Otherwise it would be Mom telling me off. We all know that moms do not hold back either. You know you're my mate. You're meant to be on my side. This novel will be daily updated. I glared at Adonis, shrugging his hand off my shoulder and going to sit next to my parents. "Oh, Brother. Never piss off your mate. I'm sure that is basic knowledge. Damien shook his head at Adonis. Adonis didn't seem fazed. Instead, he had that wicked glint in his eyes. I pretended to ignore Adonis as I ate breakfast with my family. Nia came down, yawning, and the boys didn't miss the opportunity to tease Evan. Nia sat down next to me and downed a cup of coffee. Someone had a long night. I tried but failed to hold in my laughter. Nia weakly glared at me, which caused me to laugh more. I think that's our cue to leave, Sai said, standing up. Already? I couldn't help the sadness in my voice. Oh, darling, we would stay longer if we could, but your brother is right. This novel will be daily updated. We should head off. Mom sighed. Yeah, I guess so. My happy mood disappeared. I didn't realize how much I missed my family until they had to leave again. After giving my family long hugs and promising them I'd come home, I watched the car leave. Adonis tried to hold my hand, but I shrugged him off, going to Nia instead. It's okay to be sad. Nia comforted me. I miss them already. I sighed. Adonis held my hand and pulled me into his embrace. I breathed in his addictive scent and buried my face in his chest. Guess I couldn't stay mad at him for long. Little one, I know this may not be the right time, but you should know, Bradley is dead. I looked up at Adonis, who showed no emotion, but I knew he was hurting inside. Good. He won't be causing any more trouble for us, I replied. Adonis just nodded, bringing me back into his warm embrace. Hey, a voice broke our embrace. Sophia. I looked up and down for any signs that Bradley heard her. I'm already healed, she said. I walked over to her, and she pulled me in for a hug. Oh God, I can't tell you how worried I was. My voice broke, and tears threatened to fall. Yeah, well, I'm angry with you, she replied. What? Why? I asked, confused. Because, Arya, you were going to give yourself up for me. How stupid can you be? Sophia shook her head. I told her not to. Adonis chipped in. You can be angry at me. I don't care. There was no other option, and I am the queen. Surely my decision shouldn't be questioned. The anger built up inside of me. Sophia suddenly backed down, while the others looked at me, worried. Adonis stepped closer to me. Calm down. The anger disappeared, and I sighed. You know what? It's been a long few days. Whatever has happened is done. This novel will be daily updated. We can't change the past, so why talk about it? I looked around at everyone. You're right. No more talking about it, Nia agreed. I actually need to go into town. Come on, Evan. Nia dragged Evan. I'll join. Get out of the palace, Damien said. I'll come too, I chipped in. Nope. You're busy today, Adonis replied. What? I looked at him, confused. He didn't answer me, just picked me up and threw me over his shoulder. Seriously? Put me down, I growled. Have fun, guys. My mate and I need to have a long conversation. I could hear the smirk in his voice. I heard the laughter of everyone, while Adonis carried me back to our room. Fuck you, I said, grumbling. That mouth of yours, Adonis tutted before smacking my ass. Don't do that, I gasped. Why? Is it turning you on? He asked. I scoffed. No. Just don't do it. Lies. Of course it was. Adonis would have known that anyway. Adonis dumped me on the bed, but I didn't give him the chance to do anything. I jumped up, the adrenaline pumping through my body. Adonis smirked at me. His tongue ran over his lips. Fuck, I wanted to kiss them so badly. Want me to chase you? I walked over to Adonis and left small kisses on his face, never kissing his lips. Adonis groaned. His arms tightened around my waist. No, I want you to catch me, I whispered in Adonis's ear. He clearly wasn't expecting that. For a split second his arms loosened, and I took that opportunity to duck under him and run out of our room. This time I ran through the palace before heading outside. Adonis let out a growl, causing the hairs on my body to stand on end. My Lycan and I were excited. Giggling, I ran outside and swung myself up in a tree. Adonis ran straight past me, and I waited for a few seconds before quietly jumping down and running back. inside. Honestly, I was just doing whatever came to me. I had no plan, but I found it was working in my favor. Running straight back in my room, I dashed into my cupboard and found the piece of lingerie I was looking for. As fast as I could, I put it on. It was a sexy black one-piece with a plunging neckline that went all the way down to just above my belly button. This novel will be daily updated. The lace detail was stunning. I paired that with a silk robe and took out my hair, running my fingers through it. I heard Adonis's growl outside in the gardens, and a devious idea formed in my head. I walked out on our balcony. Sure enough, Adonis was standing there, breathing heavily, his lichen clearly sniffing out where I was. "Adonis," I called. "Like what you see?" I smirked. Adonis growled and ran inside. A thrill of excitement rushed through me. I heard him shout, "No one on my floor. No one." I positioned myself by the balcony so it was like I was going to jump. Adonis banged the door open, his eyes finding mine and lust filling them quickly. "What happened?" "The king couldn't find me." I laughed. "Come here, little one." Adonis's eyes didn't leave mine. No, I like it here. Thinking everyone should see what I'm wearing, I joked. "Come here," Adonis said again, his voice deeper. "Don't you want to play catch again?" Mischief glistened in my eyes. "No, I want you here now," Adonis growled. "I think I want to play again." I smirked. "Don't do it, little one. You've teased me enough today," Adonis growled. "The king can't handle some teasing." I gasped. Adonis's eyes narrowed. "You're going to be in so much trouble." "Whatever." I flipped my hair back. "That's it." Adonis lunged for me, and that is how I ended up in this situation. I don't regret it, not one bit. Someone should have told me that my mouth would get me into trouble. Oh wait, they did. I just never listened. Adonis wasted no time in picking me up and throwing me on the bed. His eyes trained on me, daring me to move. "You look so sexy, but this needs to come off. Take it off now or I'll tear it off." Myself. Adonis's gaze never left mine. Hearing his serious tone of voice, I decided it was in my best interest to listen to him. This novel will be daily updated at www.noveljar.com. Plus, I really did like this piece of lingerie. I sat up and made my way off the bed, but Adonis growled, "No, take it off lying down." "What?" "No," I scoffed. "You really want to test me now, little one? Don't forget, you still need to be punished for the other day as well as today." Adonis raised his eyebrows. "Fuck. I forgot about that." His face showed no emotion, but that twinkle in his eyes gave it away. He wanted me to defy him. Normally I would, but I crawled back onto the bed and did some weird dance to get the lingerie off. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of punishing me. Not very sexy, but Adonis's gaze, plus him licking his lips, made me think otherwise. I flung the piece of lingerie at Adonis, and obviously he caught it effortlessly. "Why do you always have to tease me?" Adonis let out a tortured groan. He dropped the lingerie and tore off his jeans and shirt. This novel will be daily updated at www.noveljar.com. My eyes went straight to the growing bulge that was still covered. Adonis crawled toward me, causing me to hold my breath. "Why can't you just let me fuck you like we both want? Let me plunge my cock into you over and over." He looked dangerous, those eyes and that smirk of his. I was definitely in trouble. He grabbed my ankle and pulled me toward him, making me gasp. "Where's the fun in that?" I replied, my heart rate increasing dramatically. True. Much more enjoyable to have you defy me. I can't wait to dish out your punishment." Adonis smirked. "What punishment?" I asked. I didn't even realize when he took off the last piece of clothing until his member plunged into me. "Oh shit," I cried out. Adonis was relentless. His thrusts were hard and fast. He held both my hands above my head so I couldn't even run my hands through his hair like I wanted. "Don't you dare come," Adonis warned. Before I could protest, he flipped me onto my stomach and pulled me up so I was on my hands and knees. Again, his hard thrusts continued. This novel will be daily updated at www.noveljar.com. The familiar pressure built up, causing me to clench my teeth and hold onto the bedsheets. Adonis clearly knew I was close, so he slapped my ass before growling in my ear, "Don't." This was absolute torture. Every time I was close, Adonis would slow down before speeding up, an arm wrapped around my stomach, pulling me up to my knees. The new position caused me to groan. I felt him deeper than ever, and this was not helping me. "Oh God, Adonis." The pressure built up again. Adonis didn't answer, instead claiming my lips in a searing kiss that made me moan. As my hips rocked into his thrusts, I found myself begging for the release I desperately craved. "I'm so close," I told him. Adonis groaned before he released me, and I fell back on my hands and knees. "You feel so good, baby," he moaned. I knew he was close, so I replied, "Let go, Adonis." That was all he needed as he found his release while yelling my name. In my head, I thought my punishment wasn't being allowed that release I wanted. What I didn't expect was Adonis to pull out of me and flip me on my back. "Oh my God," I gasped as he didn't wait before the tip of his tongue flicked over my core. My entire body shuddered as Adonis continued to lick my clit. "Adonis, I can't. I couldn't hold back much longer." His tongue stopped, and he lifted his head. "I'm going to make you cum so many times that you remember who owns this body and this pussy." My breath came out in pants as Adonis plunged his tongue in and out while I finally was able to tangle my hands in his hair. It didn't take long for my orgasm to hit hard. This novel will be daily updated at www.noveljar.com. I screamed his name over and over again as the most powerful orgasm I had died down. I wasn't even able to catch my breath before 2 fingers penetrated my sensitive core. Fuck. I lifted my hips as the thrusts continued. Adonis pushed my body down and attacked my core again and again. That tongue of his, along with his fingers, managed to get 5 orgasms out of me. My body was tired, and I knew I'd feel this tomorrow. "I can't take any more," I breathed out. "I think you can handle one more." Adonis released his grip on my pussy. His head lifted up, and he licked his lips. He crawled toward me, and his hard member plunged into my sensitive folds. "You're still so tight," Adonis groaned. Move, I managed to get out. He didn't need any more encouragement. Although his thrusts weren't as hard as before, it didn't take me long to scream his name, with him not far behind me. His body fell to the side, and he pulled my sweaty and tired body close to him. That was something else. I was still trying to catch my breath. "Your body is something I will never get tired of." This novel will be daily updated at www.noveljar.com. Adonis kissed my sweaty forehead. I snuggled into his warmth, my body needing the rest. Our moment was ruined by us hearing Evan coming up the stairs. This time I refused to move. "He can fuck off. I'm staying here with you. I do not care if I sound like a needy bitch," I told Adonis. "I won't leave your side. Don't worry, little one." Adonis chuckled, his chest vibrating. "Hey, Arya, Nia got you." Evan trailed off. "Oh fuck no. I'm leaving it out here," Evan yelled. I burst out laughing, hearing Evan. "Why am I the one who always has to do this?" Evan's complaints faded away. I did say off limits, but he wasn't here, Adonis said. My eyes felt heavy as Adonis tucked a piece of hair behind my ears. "Did I tire you out?" He sounded smug. "Yes. I'm going to be so sore when I wake up," I complained. "Are you really complaining?" he asked. I shook my head. Those orgasms he gave me were unlike anything I had ever experienced. Of course I wasn't going to complain. "Don't get too cocky." I yawned. "Too late. I can't wait to tell the guys how many orgasms I gave you." Adonis smirked. "As if you expect me to believe that. You're too possessive to do that," I scoffed. "Me, on the other hand, I'll be telling the girls how I felt so good." I smirked. "You're looking for another punishment?" Adonis glared at me. "Whatever." I yawned again and closed my eyes. "No more talking now. Just hold me," I said. "I'll hold you forever." Adonis's grip tightened as I lost my battle to sleep. I was right. I was so sore when I woke up. Adonis held me close to him as he slept. My hand itched to touch his face, but he looked so peaceful sleeping. Adonis stirred and his hazel eyes connected with mine. I could feel your stare, little one. He yawned. Oops, my bad. I smiled sheepishly. Yes, it is your bad. I think you need to be punished. Adonis suddenly seemed more awake. Oh no, I am way too sore. I need a nice hot bath. This novel will be daily updated at www.noveljar.com. You'll have to deal with that by yourself. I stood up and pointed to his growing budge. I picked up Adonis's shirt and slipped it on as I made my way to the bathroom. You love to torture me, Adonis groaned. I smirked to myself before turning to face Adonis. You want to join me in the bath? Adonis sat up and nodded. Too bad, bath time is my time alone. I shrugged and shut the bathroom door. Adonis growled. I'll get you for that teasing. I giggled as I filled up the bath with hot water and put in bath salts. I took off Adonis's shirt and let my sore muscles sink into the warmth of the bath. I couldn't help the moan that left my lips as my sore muscles relaxed. The door banged open, and Adonis stormed in. What the fuck? I gasped. Adonis's hungry gaze traveled up and down my body, causing a familiar sensation to travel down my body. Fuck, one look and he has me ready for him. I thought you were pleasuring yourself. Adonis finally tore his gaze from my body and looked me in the eye. I wasn't. But so what if I was? I asked. Nothing. I wanted to see. Adonis smirked. I rolled my eyes. I know that look in your eyes. Leave me in my sore body. Alone. You're saying one thing, but your eyes are telling me something else. This novel will be daily updated at www.noveljar.com. I bet me seeing you pleasure yourself is turning you on right now. Adonis's gaze was locked onto mine. Don't even think about it, I warned. It took every ounce of my strength to turn him away, but my body was so sore. Plus, I wanted to enjoy my bath. Fine, I'll just join you in the bath. Adonis stepped into the water and sank into the bath before I could stop him. He sank into the water behind me and pulled my body to him. Adonis, I warned. I won't initiate anything, little one. But if you start something, then I'll happily comply, he said with a teasing smile. Before I could reply, his hands started massaging my shoulders, causing me to groan. Damn, that felt good. I knew what he was trying to do. Work me up so much that I begged for him. My traitorous body was almost willing to give in. But I stopped myself. As Adonis continued to massage my shoulders, my resolve weakened bit by bit, until I couldn't handle it. Tapped his hand and brought it down to my core. What do you want me to do, little one? Adonis whispered in my ear. You got me worked up, I moaned as Adonis's fingers teased my core. And he asked as his fingers teased my clit. Adonis, please, I begged, moving my core closer to his fingers. As my queen wishes. Adonis smirked. I gasped as he plunged 2 fingers into my core and furiously pumped them in and out. His other hand teased my nipples as I leaned against his chest, moaning, fuck. I'm so close, I breathed out. Are you going to come on my fingers? Adonis asked, his thrusts getting faster. Oh, shit. Yes, I yelled as I found my release. My head fell back against Adonis's chest as I tried to catch my breath. Best bath ever. Adonis took his fingers out of my very core, which was now extremely sore. You did that on purpose, I accused him. Maybe, but you initiated it. He kissed my head. Adonis helped me stand as he drained the water out of the bath and turned on the shower. This novel will be daily updated at www.noveljar.com. This time he stayed true to his word, washing my hair and body. I couldn't deny it felt so good. Of course, I happily returned the favor, and once we were both showered, we decided to get out. After getting dressed, we headed downstairs, hand in hand. My stomach was demanding food, so we made our way to the kitchen. Hey guys, Lexi said, sipping her tea. Coffee, my one true love. I took a big sip out of a fresh cup, while Adonis growled behind me. Possessive lichen. I just rolled my eyes and continued to sip my coffee. Long night? Lexi teased. You have no idea. I winked. No talk of what happens in the bedroom in the kitchen. Evan entered. Drama queen, I muttered under my breath. Soon everyone but Gabe joined us in the kitchen. We all chatted as we ate pancakes and laughed. Lexi didn't eat anything but sipped her tea, which was strange because she loved her coffee. For the first time, no one was stressed, and it felt amazing. Gabe made his presence known with a solemn look on his face. Lexi stood up and nodded at Gabe. Hey guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. He sighed. So don't. Just don't say it, Evan said. I wish I didn't have to. Gabe shook his head. The happy mood vanished, and Adonis stood up, a serious look on his face. What is it? He asked. All of a sudden, Gabe smiled. Lexi's pregnant. What? I exclaimed. Congrats, brother. Adonis hugged Gabe. That's why you only had tea. It suddenly dawned on me. Lexi laughed. Yep. I've known for a few weeks, but with everything going on, it just didn't seem like a good time to tell everyone. So instead you make Gabe come in here and scare the shit out of us. Evan shook his head. I had no idea he was going to do that. Lexi laughed. A baby. I can't wait. I hugged Lexi. Babies just cry and poop everywhere. Evan rolled his eyes. Just like you then, Evan. Damien joked. Poor Nia. If she ever wants kids, then she'll have you to deal with too. Adonis shook his head. Please, I'll just threaten him with no sex, and he'll change. Nia smirked. Everyone burst out laughing, while Evan pouted. Why does everyone always gang up on me? Because you have the best reactions. I laughed. Whatever. Moving on. Do you guys want a girl or a boy? This novel will be daily. Updated at www.noveljar.com. Evan asked Lexi and Gabe. I haven't thought about it. Lexi shrugged. Girl, Gabe said. You want a girl? Lexi looked shocked. Yeah, of course I do. Gabe replied. I want a boy first, Evan said. I always wanted to have a boy first, Nia agreed. Be careful. You may end up with twins, Gabe warned. Oh, even better. Nia laughed, seeing Evan's face pale. What about you two? Lexi asked me and Adonis. Oh, I haven't really thought. Girl, Adonis butted in. I want all girls, he said. All girls? I asked. Yes, all girls. He nodded. You'll have your hands full when they start dating. Evan laughed. Adonis growled, don't. My bad. Evan put his hands up. Will you find out the gender? I asked Lexi. Duh, of course. I am way too impatient to wait the full 9 months, she replied. Next stage of your lives, parenthood, Nia said. Yep, I can't wait. Gabe smiled, pulling Lexi closer to him. Adonis looked at me with a smile and said, me neither. You'll have to wait a long time. I'm not ready to be a mom right now. I laughed. I know, and that's fine. We have time. No rush, Adonis replied. So what happens now? Evan asked. Now we enjoy ourselves with no worries. Oh, and continue our duties, Adonis answered. Evan rolled his eyes. Can't we just quit? You can, but I never will. Now that I have my queen, I can deal with anything. Adonis smiled. I wrapped my arms around Adonis's waist and snuggled into his chest. Now, our forever begins.